And now another month. Several civilian houses were burned during the rebellion. Kyoto needed to be rebuilt, but it looked as if the process would take a while. I did my best to look for my father while we were out on patrol, but try as I might, I couldn't find even a hint of his whereabouts. September 1864. Saito and his men had this particular shift, so I joined them. The heat in the city was almost unbearable, as if we were inside of an oven. There was a group of people sitting listlessly at the side of the road. I stopped. They'd probably lost their homes in the fire. Saito? He turned around and looked at me placidly.
Is something the matter? Are you tired from walking?
Oh, no, nothing like that. I was just, hoping to talk to those people. Would that be okay? They might know something about my father. He frowned just slightly. Is that not okay?
No, you can go. We have very little time to spare, however. You must be quick.
Thank you. I will not waste the opportunity. This is a new scene. I jogged over toward the small crowd of people who looked up as I approached. Excuse me, but I'm looking for someone. He's bald and... I talked to several different people, but none of them knew anything about my father. Was he even still in Kyoto? Could he have gotten involved in the Hamaguri Rebellion and lost his life? No, that wasn't possible. He had to be alive. I wiped sweat from my face and desperately tried to convince myself that it was true. Saito was walking in front of me when he suddenly turned around and spoke.
Are you okay? You seem particularly hot.
Why, thank you. Oh, yes, I'm fine. I didn't want him to worry, so I smiled brightly.
Very well. If you do feel ill, inform me immediately. I cannot afford for you to be incapacitated.
Of course, thank you. Why can you not afford that? I knew the only reason he was being so attentive was because Hijikata gave him orders to take care of me. But it was still nice that he was making sure I was okay. He's the only one who ever has. What about you? Aren't you hot? You're wearing black and you've got a jacket on.
The heat is unpleasant, but tolerable. What concerns me is...
Is what? He frowned almost imperceptibly and laid a hand on his sword.
Kyoto summer is very humid. If I'm not careful, my sword will begin to rust. That is my only concern. I hope autumn arrives soon.
He was more worried about his sword than himself. It must be really important to you.
The sword is the soul of the warrior.
As he spoke, Saito pulled up short and turned to look at the building in front of which we stood. It appeared to be a sword shop. He was staring at the sword on display, his gaze almost hungry. It was like watching a child who just discovered a new toy he couldn't resist. That is adorable. Saito? He twitched a little in surprise and looked at me. Uh-oh, you got caught.
I apologize. We still have a good deal of ground to cover. If we do not hurry, we will be late.
He composed himself and walked back toward the rest of his men. You looked really excited. Was that a nice sword? He drew himself up a little as he began to speak. Oh boy. We're gonna get some boy talk about the swords. Oh.
It was a Bizen Osafune Kanamitsu.
Yes. An old sword made between the late Kamakura period to mid Nanbakucho period, roughly 1300 to 1350, in the Bizen province. Many legends have formed about it and its uncanny sharpness.
They say that the best swords are made in Bizen, and if you buy a Bizen, see that it's an Osafune. There are many other bees and smiths, however. They say that most of the swords in action today are, in fact, bees and blades.
Oh. That is so cute. He just starts talking to her about swords. Let me tell you all about the stuff. I knew it. He continued to talk about swords for some time. To be honest, I never saw him so talkative before. It's because it's something that interests him. And he's sharing with you. This is so nice. It seemed a little strange that swords brought him out of his shell, but it was nice. He's like, why are you chuckling?
Is something the matter? I don't recall saying anything amusing. Please, don't tell me I've said something wrong.
Oh, no. Not at all.
Then if I may ask, why were you laughing?
What was I going to say? You really like swords. No. Look. Be nice. Look, this is exactly the same thing that happens with both my husband and my brother. You get them on something they care about, they're gone. And I often start laughing. They're like, what? What are you laughing at? I'm like, no, nothing. Nothing, I'm just listening to you. Just keep going. I'm following. Keep going. But it's cute. You're laughing because it's cute. Oh, man. I understand. I get you. I don't really know much about swords, but I think I do kind of understand how you feel about them. I laid one hand on my kodachi as I spoke. I cherish my sword too. Saito's mouth twitched into a wry, genuine smile. Aw, that bean!
Ah, so you find yourself drawn to it as well. Then I have no doubt it will be there for you when you need it most.
His tone was as flat as ever, but there was a look in his eyes that I had never seen before. It was different from when he spoke up in meetings or issued orders to his men. I could see how much he cared about his swords, and one day he shall look upon me with the same look. I hope.
In any event, we must increase our pace. We have taken longer than I anticipated.
You're right. I nodded, but Saito suddenly stopped. I looked over and his face seemed strained.
About my delay at the sword merchant.
Don't worry, I won't tell Hijikata what happened. He seemed to relax. Please don't tell him I was gawking at swords again.
I see.
Oh, he's blushing! Oh, no! Stop, my heart.
That was very childish of me. I cannot believe I prioritized my own interest over my duty.
You bean! He hunched his shoulders and walked more quickly. Watching him made me think of how he'd looked when we stopped in front of the shop earlier. He'd been so excited, almost like a child. It made me smile. And again.
What are you smiling for?
Oh, nothing. Nothing important, just remembering something.
I suppose I needn't ask what you were remembering. No doubt you were laughing at me for neglecting my orders in favor of a sword on display.
No, I wasn't laughing at you.
There's no need to dissemble. I can hardly blame you for finding my behavior laughable. Though it may not be apparent, I regret my actions. I swear I will not make the same mistake again.
He looked away from me with an attitude that could only be described as sulking. Oh no, this is my husband. I am not laughing at you. I'm laughing... I've tried to explain this so many times, and every time it just ends with him sulking and me being like, I just think it's cute. You're making fun of me. No, I'm not. I think it's cute. It's something I love about you. Don't stop it. Please. It wasn't that I meant to mock him. There had just been something about his childlike glee that was amusing and cute, in a way. But no doubt telling him that would only have upset him more.
Come along. Hijikata will likely be waiting for our report.
Oh, right. Saito was a quiet, taciturn man, which many people interpreted as a show of coldness. But when swords were the subject of conversation, he lit up. And he pouted when I mentioned this. It was a side of him I'd never guessed at, and something about seeing it cheered me up. Yeah, it shows that he's got a heart underneath all that taciturnness. He likes things. Now we're in chapter 3. Well, there's that boy, trying to get his wife. Over and over again. The dawn of the new year arrived. It was February of 1865, and we finished eating breakfast. I was carrying a plate full of tea and opened the door to the common room. Tea is ready.
Oh, thank you, Yukimura.
I made my way around the room, pouring a cup of tea for each person there, making sure not to spill. He gave me a warm smile as I handed him his tea.
There is nothing quite so delicious as hot tea on a cold day.
Thank you. I felt a flush of pride at his words, even though I knew quite well that serving tea was hardly impressive. Just the same, I felt as if I was helping out in a way, and that was a nice feeling. Then Hijikata spoke, and his words brought me back to the present.
The Yagi have been good to us so far, but this place is getting crowded. True, it is getting a little small, especially with all the new guys coming in. If we could move to a bigger place, that'd be great. Some of the guys in the dorm look stiffed. Yeah, the guys over at Maekawa residence are practically smush sushi the way they sleep. Oh, to be a young grunt these days, I pity them. If only there was something we could do.
Easy for us to say, but imagine trying to find who else is willing to let us stay at their place. I mean, we are Kyoto's most hated. A person sitting beside Kondo pointed at the map spread upon the table. Oh, look who's alive and well.
What of this Nishihongwanji Temple, The Nishihongwanji Temple? I can't see any reason for them to accept us. But there are no other locations big enough to accommodate a living space for a few hundred men. And besides, the tactical advantage of this temple would allow us to fortify in times of panic.
This man was named Kashitaro Ito, recruited by Heisuke a few months ago as the Shinsengumi's military advisor and deputy commander. He developed his notoriety teaching Hokushin Ito in his dojo, and he is known for his scholarliness.
Additionally, it is well known that the Nishi used to shelter the Choshu Ronin. If we moved to the Nishihongwanji Temple, it would be an advantageous hiding spot from the Ronin.
Oh, I see. Very good points. I can't believe you put this much detail into it.
Kondo seemed very impressed by Ito's suggestion, but a silent voice of protest arose.
You don't think it's somewhat uncouth to use force against men of the cloth?
Ito's brow twitched as if disturbed by the idea, and he faced Sanan directly.
Would you say that to the Choshu Ronin who inhabited the temple and did as they pleased? But my, aren't you nice, Sanan? You're even considering the feelings of outlaw Ronin who actively disrupt the peace of Kyoto.
Ito's deflection of Sanan's words left a bitter taste in everyone's mouth, including Sanan.
I agree that this extremist imperial nationalist party must be dealt with, but this seems...
There's my boy.
So, what are you saying? When we meet in battle, do you expect them to respect the Shinsengumi on name alone, and to engage in a fight fair and square? Wouldn't it be just peachy if all those Choshu Ronin were on their best behavior, like a Kamakura warrior?
Saburo, watch your mouth now, darling.
Ah, my mistake. Couldn't help myself.
The other man beside Ito was Saburo Miki, who joined at the same time as Ito. Allegedly, he was Ito's younger brother by blood.
My apologies, everyone. This young one here has a tendency to let his mouth run free, you see. So, Sanan, don't take it too personally. I'm sure we need a person like you to make the Shinsengumi succeed. Even if your left arm is useless, your indubitable wit and book smart shall prove useful, I'm sure.
I watched as Sanan bit his lip, an act of restraint to Ito's sour words. The tension was cut by another voice.
Perhaps I didn't hear you correctly, Ito.
Hijikata's voice was cold and sharp, like the sound of a blade sliding across a whetstone. Ito seemed taken aback, and his eyes grew wide.
Sanan's smart, like you said. But above all, he's a swordsman of the Shinsengumi. He is not useless, and he is not replaceable. Get it through your head.
Hijikata only spoke when necessary, so it must have been something he truly believed. That's his brother. However...
But my arm is...
He couldn't even seem to bring himself to finish. It seemed as though Hijikata realized his words were reminding Sanan of what he used to be, causing Sanan to curl his lips into a frown.
Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause such a fuss. Next time I'll keep my thoughts to myself. Sanan is quite the beloved member here, isn't he? It's nice to see such a tight-knit group. It's just that, as I'm sure you thought about it, I hope the new members share that sentiment.
Hijikata's eyes seethed with anger towards Ito. Kondo tried to relieve the tension by stepping in and clearing the air.
Well, for now, let's keep business strictly in terms of finding a new headquarters location. Ito, would you mind coming with me? I would love to continue our earlier discussion about a new base.
Sure, I'd love to.
Seeing the two get up, Takeda followed right behind them.
Chief Kondo, may I join as well?
Of course. I want you to hear what Ito has to offer and broaden your views. Even the captains of the Shinsengumi must push themselves to learn more than fighting. It is our responsibility to grow and gain knowledge, to expand our horizons.
Yes, sir.
Kondo left the common room with Ito, and Miki, however, who still sat before us. He smirked coldly towards us, and he slinked off to leave the common room. Okito spoke once Miki's footsteps weren't audible. Who brought those bastards into the Shinsengumi?
The culprit is still in Edo. Damn it, Heisuke. When he gets back, I'm going to give him a few punches. Ito's with the Imperial Nationalist Party, aye? Surprising to see people with the same beliefs as those Choshu bastards joining the Shinsengumi. Well, nationalists think themselves to be above the Choshu for whatever it's worth. I mean, the Imperial Nationalist Party is... Well, just listen to the bullshit he was going on about the other day. It seems as though he has rubbed off on Kondo as well, which is a poor influence in my opinion.
Well, Kondo is a kind person. He is easily deceived by silver tongues, those who appear virtuous, but are real scumbags.
So, Ito is our deputy commander, and his little brother is the captain of the 9th Division, huh? That is gonna be a real bitch.
Eventually, Hijikata approached Sanan, who weakly hung his head, facing the floor in shame.
Sanan, don't listen to that asshole, okay?
Sanan shook his head.
He is well educated and a skilled orator. Not only that, he's good with the sword. With such a gifted deputy commander, I suppose the Shinsengumi has little need for a colonel.
Hey, Sanan!
Sanan left the room as Hijikata's voice trailed behind, echoing in the hall.
Man, I feel bad for him. Even the men are avoiding him these days.
What? But why?
Well, can't blame him. No matter what you say to him, he takes it the wrong way. And no matter what you say, he acts like such a smug smartass, so the warriors are intimidated and want nothing to do with him.
Oh, no, poor Sanan. Even though I haven't been here as long as the captains, I knew Sanan was so well liked by the other warriors before his injury. Hey, Hijikata. Can't you come up with some bullshit excuse to kick Ito out? Ever since they arrived, it's been nothing but bad vibes and sour moods.
You know damn well I cannot do that. I mean, look at the way Kondo fawns over Ito. Besides, he brought a large force of men behind him when he joined. You think they won't make a stink if he were to just disappear?
Well, damn. Aren't you supposed to be the demon? The commander from hell? You're supposed to make the impossible happen.
Fine, Soji. How about we make you commander? Then you can kick Ito and his guys out, right?
Ha! Hell no. That's way too much trouble. The consensus was that Ito was not to be trusted, and it seems no one spoke in his defense. Only one, during all of this, quietly sipped his tea. Saito quietly looked up at me as I poured more tea into his cup. So, what do you think about Ito? I mean, about Ito joining, that is.
As an organization grows, it will expand to include people who have differing ideas and points of view.
Ah, so then...
However, if one attempts to force this sort of diversity, then the organization will begin to rot from within.
His words hung in the air, a dark omen for the future of the Shinsengumi. It was considerate of Ito to join, but his presence seemed to be a recipe for dissension, if not outright disaster. The setting sun glowed through the windows with a warm, rich maroon, an ominous kind of beauty. It's cold. I came out into the yard and my body stopped due to the cold. Guess spring will take a while. I wasn't too fond of Ito, but it was Sanan and his condition that truly worried me. I really wish his arm would just heal. That arm, or perhaps more accurately, the lack of it, was the source of his change in personality. Still, as nice as it would be for Sanan's arm to simply start working again, that seemed like the stuff of a child's fable, not real life. That was when I remembered. If push comes to shove, he'll have to take it. I don't think Sanan's just going to give up.
Don't jinx him, Soji. It's gonna look bad if officers start joining the Furies.
Okita was talking about the Shinsengumi having some secret serum back in the day. Judging from how they spoke of it, it's an item with circumstances. But... And I was not to know about the existence of that serum. If I were to look into it without approval, there was no doubt that I'd be punished. But I'm the daughter of a doctor. I'm pretty sure I had more knowledge on medicine than the men of the Shinsengumi did. I need to return to my room because the thing that happens after that I can interact with Hajime. So I should do that. Perhaps it would be best to just return to my room. I didn't want to get in trouble for wandering around, but most of all, I didn't want to find myself in anyone's way. Even though I was worried about Sanan, maybe it's for the best for me to stay out of the way. Just as the sun dipped below the horizon, the compound exploded with activity. My worry increased tenfold. Did something happen? I waited for a few moments for the activity to settle down, but it did no such thing. Something was wrong. I could feel it. I struggled against it for as long as I could, but eventually my curiosity got the better of me. There must be someone in the common room. I decided to ask someone what had happened.
To think that Sanan would have done this to himself.
God damn it! What the hell were you guys doing? I told you countless times to watch out for Sanan. Was some part of that difficult to understand?
Come on, man. Who would have thought he'd drink that stuff? I mean, Sanan was in charge of watching that stuff anyway, so it's not like we would have known. If it were hidden in a small bottle, we would have no way of knowing if it was on him. I mean, I suppose there is a chance that the treatment would heal his arm, but... It didn't work, did it? Everybody who took it went crazy. Then Sanan would be...
I wondered what they meant by treatment. Occasionally, I'd heard the captains referring to something similar from time to time. So, did Sanan drink that thing?
I believe Colonel Sanan was working on improving it. He hoped to repair his arm before it had deteriorated too far. Perhaps he felt he was finished, or at least close enough. Whatever the case, when he realized his failure, he ignored Soji's counsel and attempted suicide.
Suicide? The words were past my lips before I'd even thought them. As one, all eyes in the room turned toward me. Whoops.
Just what the hell are you doing here?
The longer his cold gaze kept me pinned, the tighter my throat became until I could barely breathe, let alone speak. I felt a strange combination of anxiety, suspicion, and animosity that I had felt before on the night I arrived at the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. Now as then, I knew the meaning of that gaze.
Toshi, I think it's time you told her what's going on. She's Koto's daughter, after all. She has a right to know.
I felt my eyes go wide at the mention of my father's name. Why would my father's name come up here? Don't tell me he had something to do with this. Hichikata's gaze slid to Kondo, sporting an unpleasant grimace. After a moment, however, he gave a long, exasperated sigh and turned back to me.
I'm going to make this clear. The Shinsengumi doesn't need you. There's a chance you'll help us find Koto, but even without your help, we'll find him eventually. A minor setback at worst. You do anything weird, we'll kill you. I'm about to tell you what's going on here, but keep in mind that your life is in our hands.
The intensity of Hijikata's statement felt like a sharp dagger pointed at my throat. I'm the daughter. The Shinsengumi only let me stay with them in the slight chance I'd come in handy when the time arose to search for my father. Although it wasn't their primary duty, the Shinsengumi had the watch for all manhunts. There's nothing left to tie me here, apart from my memories of the last year. Are you going to kill me? My words were flushed with worry, and Hichikata thinned his eyes like he was speaking to a servant.
We aren't going to kill you yet, but don't think that means you're in the clear.
Oh. I was glad, I suppose, that I wasn't going to be killed, but I was still far from happy. I'd been with the Shinsengumi for nearly a year, and my position with them hadn't changed. The truth cut deep.
We never told you, but Koto was here because he was developing a treatment.
You mean... I gulped audibly, and I carefully formulated what I was going to say in my head before I said it aloud. The one that Sanan took? When Kondo nodded, it was as if there was a great weight resting on him.
It was first brought to us by one of the Shogun's men. We were told this concoction was obtained from a trade with Western merchants.
Curiosity swelled inside of me, and my head felt light from the anticipation. Still, I knew that digging deep is dangerous. These thoughts swirled.
It was a foreign drug, filled with the ability to augment a man's healing and physical strength. Any who drank it would, supposedly, be strong enough to conquer a wild beast. Barring a truly fatal wound, any injuries from battle would heal almost immediately. Unless one were to be decapitated or be pierced in the heart, you can engage in combat forever.
Does such a concoction really exist? It felt like I was hearing some sort of fairy tale.
Of course, all of this comes with a price.
A price?
The drink spurs men into madness, and they are unable to survive without drinking the blood of others. Kodo took it upon himself to experiment on the Shinsengumi in an attempt to improve the drug.
My father? Somewhere deep in my heart, I knew my father had some connection with all of this. Knowing my father was involved with driving men mad, all I could do was wonder why. To perform experiments on the Shinsengumi. So, that night in the alley. Saito nodded plainly.
We keep the guys who've taken it in the Nanbu house. If we kept them at Yagi house, suspicions would have been aroused. So long as they don't get any blood, they stay pretty calm.
Saito spoke quietly and indifferently. It was as if what he talked about was a distant memory. Living with them for so long made me forget. There is still a line between myself and the Shinsengumi men that couldn't be crossed, and his coldness reminded me of this notion.
You alright, Chizuru? You don't look too well.
I'm alright.
Don't push yourself. I mean, of course you'd be sick after hearing this.
Alright, we've told her enough. We need to think about Sanan.
Well, yeah, but... I mean, look at him. He's practically dead.
Well, this batch is new, so the effects could be different. It's not a sure thing yet that he'll go mad. Well, if that crap actually does what it is supposed to, then that cut isn't going to kill him.
Hichikata felt like he was restrained in saying this, as if he was trying to keep his hopes low.
Kondo, can you keep an eye on him? Tonight's gonna tell if he lives or dies. Or goes crazy.
Very well. Soji is with him, right?
Kondo nodded deeply, then stood and walked towards the room.
Don't let anyone near Sanan's room. Especially Ito's men.
Yeah, I know.
Shinpachi, go check on the Maekawa house.
Got it.
As he passed, Nagakura's eyes met mine for an instant, and his gaze... In them I saw the same hostility felt on the night I'd first arrived, and they were filled with doubt and suspicion towards me.
Saito, I want you in the inner courtyard. If Ito and his guys show up, keep them occupied.
Understood.
Eventually, Hichikata faced his gaze to me.
Yukimura, I want you to stay with one of the captains.
Okay. It seemed as though his suggestion wasn't out of worry for my well-being, but rather that it wasn't a wise idea for me to be wandering around.
Stay out of the Nanbu house. They get kind of rowdy at night.
Alright. I bowed slightly, but even with their warnings I would be limited. Where should I go? The inner courtyard, I think. Yeah, that is where Saito's going. Winds chilled the courtyard. The candle flickered. The air was still, and the whole place was silent. It was hard to believe the chaos of the common room was only moments ago. Saito stood in a daze, gathering thoughts as he watched the stars shiver in the distance.
Why don't you go inside? The night is very cold.
I'm fine. I'm not cold. Saito stared at me. His expression was blank, and he seemed to be calculating, but alas, he simply looked back to the sky.
For those who live by the sword, their hands define life itself. To lose them, I suppose taking one's own life makes sense.
I saw the white air of Saito's breath as he muttered to himself.
I didn't notice how bad it was for him. I guess the Sanan we knew was only a fragment of whom he truly was.
Saito. Saito wasn't the best at expressing how he felt, but it was clear his words were tinged with pain. I could sense he was deeply remorseful for not being able to stop Sanan. What's going to happen to him? Between us followed a period of silence, and I was mad at myself for asking such a question. There was no way for Saito to know the answer. Soon, though, he quietly responded, and it was no surprise to see him become disengaged.
It can't become public knowledge that a colonel in the Shinsengumi has gone mad. Better that he dies.
What? My voice cracked, but Saito scarcely blinked. Could you live with that, Saito? If you were to be given orders to assist with Sanan's beheading.
With my assistance, Sanan can be sent to the next life without much suffering. If I am called to do it, then I will kill whom I must. Simple as that.
A chill grazed my spine, but not from the night air. I couldn't believe it. Is this what it takes to be a Shinsengumi warrior? He could probably kill me at any moment if it were called upon him, and I realized just how expendable I was.
I prefer not to kill my comrades if possible. It is difficult to imagine something more painful.
The night I'd met Saito, I'd watched him kill a man whom he may have known without blinking. Or maybe that's how it looked to me. I thought him cold at the time, but I realize now how much pain he must have been in. There's no way it couldn't be painful. Moving together with hope of sharing a vision. Just then I sensed someone approaching us. I turned around. Miki! Uh-oh, time to distract.
Hey, the common room has been pretty noisy. Something going on?
Ah, I see you're still up.
Well, how are people supposed to sleep with all this commotion going on? So, what happened? I was trying to ask others, but everyone gave me the same half-assed answer.
Kondo made sure to tell us to keep Ito and his gang from finding out what happened tonight. How are we supposed to play it off? Panicked, I looked at Saito.
I can't tell you right now.
Is that so? Despite me being a captain?
The thing is, I also haven't fully grasped what is going on. If I were to tell you something that later turned out to be incorrect, it would cause an unnecessary confusion. I'm sure by tomorrow the chief and commander will call everyone to explain. Wait until then.
I see.
Miki shrugged at his answer and shuffled off without saying another word. Was that alright? Do you think Miki was satisfied with that?
Well, he's not a dimwit. He is Ito's little brother, after all.
I thought so.
But then again, I don't see him as the type to just cause an unnecessary scene, either. You shouldn't let your guard down in front of him, but no need to be too cautious either.
Saito's reserved nature made it difficult for people to observe him, but he used this to his advantage and seemed to be astute when watching others.
All we could do is pray that Sanan pulls through.
You're right. Above us sang the wind of the gentle night, its song catching the ears of the star-filled sky.